Welcome your host, KRAZY Kajeevie. Hey guys, welcome to the James Bond Show. No fears, limits, or substitutes. I'm your host, KRAZY Kajeevie. Guys, I got a special show for you today because we are going to discuss the most incredible article ever put on the internet in the history of articles put on the internet. But first of all, I was going to show you something a bit special the other day, my question and answer part 1, and I didn't get to do it. I'll be honest, my battery was actually flashing and running out. That's why I suddenly decided those question and answers were going to be part 1. Now, for the part 2 question and answers, chuck more questions in the comment section. I will answer them. So put in your questions about James Bond, my thoughts on Bond films, collecting, whatever, and I'll answer them in part 2. And if you stuff those questions in now, in today, I'll shoot part 2 for you tonight. So this is my beautiful sideshow 1/4 scale Sean Connery premium piece. Have a look at that. Have a look at there. Now this is number 10 of 2,000 made. So there were 2,000 of them made. I've got to give them a little bit of a clean up. A few little Mr. Ruggles hairs. And so there were 2,000 made, and this is number 10 of them. I'll see if I can show you. Have a look at that, guys. You see there, number 10 of 2,000? There you go. And he is absolutely, he's gorgeous. I love this. Fantastic. I wish they made a Lazenby one. So just to fill you in, guys, so they made Connery, they made Pierce Brosnan, and they made Roger Moore, and they also made a special edition Sean Connery, same head, same pose and everything, but it was in the brown Thunderball suit. And there were only 150 of those ever made, and I have one. So you guys have probably seen it before, but next maybe part 2 questions, I'll hold it up if you haven't seen it before. So I do have one of the very rare ones, only 150 of those made. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys. You are not going to want to miss what's coming up. I'm just going to pop Mr. Connery down here. Okay, so now I am about to read to you the most amazing article ever. KRAZY Kajeevie is going to review this. Now this is by the greatest snowflake, one of the greatest snowflakes ever, the greatest snowflakes ever. Can be found at a disgusting Facebook page actually called For Bond Fags Only. Bond Fans Only, but we all know it's really For Bond Fags Only. My advice, avoid that page. It's disgusting. It's full of real mutant, sick, disgusting little people that love to post images of near naked men and push for a black James Bond, and they hate on Christians, and they hate on anyone that, any traditional real James Bond fan that wants a white Ian Fleming James Bond. These Muppets will call you racist, and they'll send you disgusting emails, death threats, and everything else like that. So for Bond fans only, they are the biggest left-wing fruitcakes on the planet. Avoid them, and this guy might be a member of their page. So let's check this out. This is the incredible Will Hersey from Esquire. Will Hersey from Esquire. Let's have a look at what he says. So Mr. Hersey believes that James Bond should die. Also one of those mutants that For Bond Fags Only also touted that James Bond should be killed off so a black James Bond can come in and take away even a female one. I think they want a gay one too. So let's have a look at this. Oh, and as we're talking about Facebook pages, if you want a real James Bond Facebook page where you can celebrate what Ian Lancaster Fleming made, real white imperialistic British James Bond, come to James Bond Real Fans on Facebook. Also, if you're a Bond collector, James Bond Collectors page. Now, this guy has lost his balls. His actual, what I should have discussed, his nickname within the industry, I just found out by doing a bit of research. He was actually titled No Balls. So, no, I'm not even joking. So he was titled Mr. No Balls. Will Hersey, aka Mr. No Balls. So someone out there's already got onto this guy having no balls. So let's have a look at this article. Okay, You don't actually need to see the trailer for No Time to Die to know some of the things that will happen in Daniel Craig's 5th outing as James Bond and the franchise's 25th installment. There will be modern touches to keep things progressive. Oh, I think you'd love more than modern touches there. We will. An electric car, some female characters with possibly funny lines, a crafty nod or two to Craig's impending retirement. In brackets, will Bond have awkward leaving drinks in the upstairs of a pub near the office? You'd probably slip something in his drink there, old Willy. Okay, some sunny backdrops, some snowy ones, some chases in cars, and some on foot. Daniel Craig clenching his teeth and inexplicably not slipping over while sprinting in his leather-soled derbies. Wow, this article's off to a flyer, but bear with me here. There will be much analysis of this trailer in order to speculate on what it might mean for the film itself, released next year in April. So this incredible article was released December last year. Let's continue. But we certainly won't find out from the carefully presented 2.5-minute showreel whether the filmmakers have been brave enough to do the one thing they need to do in the 2020 edition. Kill James Bond off. Yeah, brave if you want to lose millions of dollars, you twat. Okay, so the genius goes on here to say, when the film's title, No Time to Die, was announced, it seemed an oddly jaded jumble of words, like the producers had turned to a random Bond title generator or stumbled across the minutes of a brainstorm from the Roger Moore era. Had another trick been missed to move things on a bit? Okay, so just on that, Willy out there, Will Wesley, whatever your name is, sorry, Mr. No Balls. So just on that, Mr. No Balls, so he reckons that they've just basically taken some kind of title, similar title, to the Roger Moore era. Well, just want to let you know, genius, that actually all the Roger Moore titles, including The Spy Who Loved Me, which wasn't based on the book it was written on, all are from Ian Fleming, not little jumbled made up titles. So and the consensus of Bond fans actually really like No Time to Die as a title. In hindsight, we can instead hope that the title is an ironic red herring from the Bond puppet masters, because they too must know that for various reasons, which this guy really is not going to go into detail on, and they're going to be made up in his head, for various reasons, right now is precisely the time for 007 to meet his maker. Okay. It's funny, you know, I wonder if he's an evolutionist or an atheist, because who's your maker? Like, if you're an evolutionist, you're an atheist, like, these guys are most cuckolded left-wing snowflakes, like For Bond Fags Only. If you're an evolutionist, who's your maker? I mean, you know, seriously, if you walk down the beach or something, you gotta, like, avoid fish, you know, avoid crabs. Oh, sorry, you nearly stepped on your great-great-granddad. Oh, don't step there. Don't step on that dead fish. That might be your great-great-grandmother, you freaks. So, after Bond 25's original director, Danny Boyle, left the project in August 2018 due to creative differences with producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, there were rumours Boyle and his longtime screenwriting collaborator, John Hodge, had wanted to do just this, though Boyle has only gone as far as to say that the producers had wanted to go with a different screenwriter, so we had walked too. Alright, but this was contradicted, and I've told people about this actually. You know what, out of the entire article, Mr. No Balls probably gets this bit right, and that's about it. Conflicted by another report that it was actually Broccoli and Craig that had wanted Bond to die, and that Boyle didn't want to be the guy who killed him off. Now that's what I would go for. I would absolutely go for the fact that John Hodge and Danny Boyle did not want to kill James Bond off. And this is why I've been warning everyone. You've been set up here, and even people like this are setting you up, why Bond must die. This is all a plan. I've told you all along, but I'm a conspiracy theorist and whatnot. This is a plan by Eon, and using these left-wing nut jobs to push why James Bond is going to be killed off. Whichever story may be true, the option has clearly been discussed, and rightly so. Craig has been in the job for 13 years, Bond for nearly 60 years, as in Bond's been on the cinema for nearly 60. His writing's not great here. While the Craig era managed to mark a genuine change in approach from the puff and smirks of the Brosnan era, producing some occasionally stellar set pieces and at least marking a new high in how James Bond can look thanks to the skills of cinematographer Roger Deakins. It still carried a somewhat tired and earnest air, the mark of a main character undergoing palliative care. As we reach No Time to Die, it feels more like his death throes. So this genius here, even though Eon have thrown $250 million at this film and getting incredible technicians, incredible cast, apparently to this guy, it all feels like, yes, James Bond should die. It's all a tired, horrible formula to this genius here. The jibes have been there throughout Craig's tenure, with Bond depicted as an out-of-touch dinosaur, mocked for his cold heart, old-fashioned approach, and even his failing eyesight. Now, in fairness to Mr. No Balls, in fairness to No Balls here, Craig has been forced to basically be a bit of a pussy. Other than Casino Royale, they have demanded this guy. He's sucking on fingers, for goodness sake, on Vesper's fingers in Casino Royale. They've taken away, he drinks a little bit, but now he's falling in love with another girl, Madeline Swan, and, her father was behind really the death of Vesper in a way when you look at it. And there's no more funny quips, there's no more humour. The posters make him look like he's ready for retirement, apart from the IMAX poster, which is half decent. But he's right here in a way that Broccoli and G. Wilson, this Craig era from Quantum of Solace to now, has really tried to either bore us to death with James Bond or take away the humour, the suaveness. There's no, look at the posters, there's no gun poses, there's nothing cocky, there's nothing suave about him anymore. Very little on the suave levels. So this is then what happens. They do those things over a period of time, and then guys like this come along, No Balls, push these articles and push this agenda, proving that Bond is irrelevant. The political, or in their minds irrelevant, the political and cultural landscape has clearly changed somewhat since he first came onto our screens, and even since the halcyon pre-referendum days of Spectre. And by the way, just as far as Brexit and all that, what did the people choose to leave? Those people aren't left-wing morons. Majority really want Bond to be who Bond is. They're the types that voted for Brexit, and they're not the types that have the power to run the media and do this stuff. So this is a loud minority compared to the silent or silenced majority. Clearly changed somewhat since he first came onto our screens, and even since the halcyon pre-referendum days of Spectre, surely so has the tolerance to men who slip into the shower of a sex trafficking victim uninvited, as he did in Skyfall, and later smirk when she is shot dead with a glass of whiskey on her head, muttering, "Waste of good scotch." Okay, now this Mr. No Balls here has clearly got his vagina in a knot. He's taken what happened in Skyfall completely out of context. Since this loser doesn't actually want to give any real details of what happened, the truth is, what happened in Skyfall is she invited Bond to meet her at that boat, and there was massive sexual flirtation between them. So she was obviously putting out all the signs. Now, when Bond did turn up on the boat and he gets into the shower, A, she knew he was coming. B, she got naked. C, she got in the shower. 4, he gets into the shower. 5, she turns around. Boom, it's on. So, hardly a victim of sexual assault from Mr. Bond, who's, cracking onto a poor little ex-prostitute. But you knew this already, No Balls, but you like to print this bullshit just to upset Bond fans and try and bring down Ian Fleming's James Bond. And as for the part about waste of good scotch and Bond not caring and he just makes a joke about it, he actually turned around and killed every one of the guys involved in that except for Silver. So he killed all the henchmen and he clearly said waste of good scotch as a joke to get through that time. He's a secret agent and he literally has to keep his head in those moments. You know that, no balls. You've written this just to be a complete twat. Okay, so smirk when she's shot dead with a glass of whiskey, blah, blah, blah. Incredibly, these are scenes from a film released just 7 years ago. Wow, what a crime releasing that film 7 years ago. Okay, given that Boyle's replacement as director, Kerry Fukunaga, has been described as a total tree hugger, it's hard to imagine him continuing to celebrate a character who has made such behaviour his trademark. Wow. So how many films has James Bond slipped into the shower of prostitutes? Former prostitutes, I can name one. And how many times has James Bond slipped into a shower with a woman uninvited? I can name none. So you are a flog, Mr. No Balls. Yet trying to modernise his habits would surely be too much of a cringe. It's hard to imagine Bond checking if the casino menu is locally sourced. Maybe you do, No Balls, maybe, you know. Look, I think you've written this on a day where your favourite little vegan shop, your little vegan bread shop ran out of, I don't know, vegan goat's cheese bagels or something, or your chai latte was just a little bit too hot for you and didn't get to drink it fast and get your vegan chai dose that day and you got a bit angry, Willy, what's his name again? No, sorry, No Balls. Sorry, Mr. No Balls. Okay, the public interest in the stories around Idris Elba or a female actor taking over the role must also have been sent a message, his grammar's really weird here, been sent a message to producers that. Look, if you're going to write, buddy, if you're going to write this crap, at least get your grammar right, check for typos and stuff like that, that an alcoholic, womanizing, post-Empire spy figure might not be the perfect poster boy for the coming generation. That's because the coming generation, guys that, you know, you probably hang around with and maybe date and maybe you borrow their clothes, No Balls, these people are a bunch of soy boy pussies, absolute cringe-worthy, gutless, dickless, pussy, no brain, no balls, no guts, no decency, no sense of humour, mincy little twerps. That's what they are. And that's what this generation's going to be. Unless they actually look up to characters like James Bond who have big brass balls, buddy. So at his core, as his core fans continue to age, producers will surely have one eye on how to pull in the under 30s before it's too late. Let me see if that's enough of this, because this is painful. Far from being commercial, the brilliance keeps going. Far from being commercial suicide, it could reinvigorate interest in how the character could evolve, given that the 007 moniker can be passed to another agent. There is the opportunity to carry on the franchise with a brand new person in the job. See where this is going, guys? I warned you. Creatively, it makes sense too. What better way to keep things interesting than throwing off the baggage that Bond carries around like an elderly hotel porter? And as far as the film is concerned, killing off Bond would also represent a chance for a genuine blowout finale that could go down in cinema history. The moment one of the film's most famous characters met his maker and timely change from the previous two lo-fi endings, Skyfall Scottish Highlands Shootout looked like a post-apocalyptic episode of a Sunday night sitcom as time goes by, with Judi Dench getting her shoes muddy and Albert Finney lurking in the cupboard under the stairs. The only jeopardy was whether they'd be able to get the dents out of the Aston Martin. Spectre, meanwhile, ended with a scene on Westminster Bridge that could have been taken straight off the DVD extras of Line of Duty, Yellow police tape trench-coated man and moody shots of dark puddles. Even Craig himself famously said he'd rather slash his wrists than play Bond again. That was taken completely out of context, and you know that, pal. He said that considering it was 2 weeks after he'd just stopped filming. He did not say it about the actual character and returning to do another film. So since you call yourself a journalist or whatever you are, get your facts right, no balls. Okay. Even Craig himself famously said he'd rather slash his blah blah. Was he perhaps persuaded to change his mind when the producers promised he'd be the last man ever to play Bond if he did one more? Okay, a reported £50 million paycheck might have helped too, but it's a tempting theory. No Time to Die has the opportunity to be something that a Bond film hasn't managed to be in recent memory. Original and interesting. Let's hope they don't fluff the chance. The only thing fluffing anything is you and your little pink panties there, Mr. No Balls. People like you and the previously mentioned gutless little queers over at For Bond Fags Only. You're the type of people that want to kill James Bond off and destroy Bond. James Bond is about bravery. There's beautiful clothes. There's watches. There's cars. There's action. There's women. There's adventure. It is a lifestyle. And it has. Some people probably take it a little too far. I get that. But James Bond is such a beautiful thing to so many people, especially fathers watching it with their children. And people like you want to come along and destroy it for nothing. Mincy little soy drinkers. Get stuffed. James Bond is not for you. And if you don't like it, stick it up your ass. And I hope one day, Mr. No Balls, someone gets out there, maybe, I don't know, Sean Connery from Thunderball could get his scuba tank on and search for your balls somewhere. Because maybe they're out there, or maybe they're just too small to find. Till next time, keep on bonding. Oh, and Mr. No Balls, say hi to your mum for me. Oh, there's no way I could dive that far to find little Will Wesley's little tiny grape-sized balls. I'm good, but I'm not that good. Grow some balls!